Today, we're talking about a man who wasn't just a monk. He was a movement, a spiritual lion whose roar literally woke up a sleeping nation and introduced its ancient wisdom to the entire modern world.
So, to really get a handle on his impact, we're not going to start at the beginning of his life. Nope, we're going to jump right in to the deep end, to the exact moment he burst onto the world stage. And believe me, this one moment, it changed everything.
All right, I want you to picture this. The year is 1893. We're in Chicago at this massive, grand event called the World's Parliament of Religions. And the audience, well, they really only know India through colonial stereotypes. Then this young, completely unknown monk in saffron robes walks up to the podium. He's calm, but you can feel this electric energy coming off.
He leans into the microphone and begins with just 5 simple words. And the hall just erupts. I'm talking a 2-minute standing ovation before he's even started his speech. Think about that. With one single heartfelt greeting, he completely shattered all the barriers and basically captured the heart of the entire Western world.
So you've got to be asking, who was this guy? Where did he come from? Well, before he was Swami Vivekananda, the world knew him as Narendranath Datta. And he wasn't some quiet, passive mystic. He was a brilliant, incredibly restless, and deeply skeptical young man from Calcutta. And he was absolutely tormented by this one question. See, for him, this was not about blind faith. Narendra had this sharp, rational, almost scientific mind. He didn't want philosophical theories or feel-good quotes. He was looking for direct, personal proof. And that one question, man, it was the engine for his entire spiritual journey.
His search led him to a man who, on the surface, seemed to be his total opposite. You had Narendra, the polished, educated skeptic, and then you had Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, a simple temple priest who couldn't really read or write, but just radiated this pure, undeniable spiritual power. It was the ultimate meeting of the intellectual seeker and the mystical seer.
So when Narendra finally confronts Ramakrishna with his big, burning question, this is the answer he gets. It's not a theory. It's not a quote from a book. It's a statement of direct personal experience. Can you imagine? That single answer completely blew Narendra's intellectual world apart and set him on a path that would change his life forever. After his teacher passed away, Narendra became a monk and took the name Swami Vivekananda. But here's the twist. He didn't retreat to a quiet monastery. Instead, he set off on an epic journey to discover the true soul of his own country. And what he found out there would both break his heart and forge his life's mission.
And I'm not talking about a short trip. For 5 long years, he walked the entire length and breadth of India. This wasn't a pilgrimage. You could call it field research. He was living among the people, seeing their struggles up close. And it all came to a head in 1892. He's meditating on the very last rock at the southern tip of India, at Kanyakumari, and bam, it all just clicks into place. His mission becomes crystal clear.
So what did he see on that journey? He saw a nation with this incredibly rich spiritual past, but in the present, it was crippled. He saw soul-crushing poverty, widespread illiteracy, a rigid caste system, and above all, a nation that had completely lost its confidence and self-respect under colonial rule. And his big conclusion was completely counterintuitive. He realized, you know what? India doesn't need more religion. It's practically drowning in it. What it needs, what it's starving for, is strength. Physical strength, mental strength, and the kind of inner strength that only comes from true self-belief. But Vivekananda wasn't the kind of guy to just point out problems. He was a man of action. So he developed a solution, a practical philosophy, a kind of practical Vedanta that wasn't designed for escaping the world. No, this was a blueprint for transforming the world through fearless action. Okay, so the first pillar of his philosophy is this, the divinity of the soul. He basically told everyone, listen up. Every single one of you, no matter who you are or where you come from, has a spark of the divine inside you. You are powerful. The goal of life, then, isn't to become something you're not. It's to manifest the divine power you already have. Next, he completely redefined the idea of worship. He said, let's take it out of the temples and bring it into the streets. If God is in every single person, then the highest form of worship, the highest prayer, is to serve another human being, especially someone who is poor or suffering. That became the absolute bedrock of his entire mission. And this next idea, this might be his most revolutionary one. He directly connected spirituality with strength. He famously said that weakness is the only sin. Think about that.
He argued that any religion that makes you weak or fearful or dependent on someone else isn't a real religion at all. The true purpose of any spiritual practice should be to build an iron will and a fearless heart.
Now this quote tends to shock people, right? But he wasn't dismissing scripture, not at all. He was attacking passivity. His point was that you need strong muscles and a sharp mind to even begin to understand profound philosophy. For him, strength was the prerequisite. It was the ticket to even get in the game.
So, the big question is, did it work? What was the result of all this fire and passion? Well, Vivekananda's life was incredibly short, but his impact was monumental. He left behind a legacy that is still roaring through India and the world today.
And his legacy isn't just about ideas. It's about concrete action. He reawakened a nation's pride in itself. In 1897, he founded the Ramakrishna Mission, which is still doing incredible work in education and healthcare today. He inspired a whole generation of freedom fighters, including leaders like Gandhi, and he permanently redefined spirituality as selfless service to others. And here's the most astounding fact of all, the real kicker. He accomplished all of this by the age of 39. 39. He lived this incredibly intense, concentrated life, burning like a fire for his mission. It's like he packed centuries of work into just a few short years.
So what's the one thing to take away from all this? It's his final, most empowering message. In a world that so often makes us feel small or weak, his roar across time reminds us of our own infinite potential. He taught that the greatest truth isn't found in a book or a temple, but right inside ourselves. The only question is, are we ready?